Well, Haiti is marking some heartbreaking milestones this month. 13 years ago, a powerful earthquake took the lives of hundreds of thousands of people and devastated the Caribbean country's already fragile infrastructure. It was also 50 years ago when the first boatload of Haitians arrived in South Florida, having fled oppression and violence that ravaged their homeland. Well, decades later, not much has changed. Migrants are still fleeing dangerous conditions, and the U.S. still does not have a real plan to deal with it. Joining me now to talk more about the issues involving Haiti and the ongoing mass migration are Tamara, owner of Island Television, and immigration attorney for Catholic Legal Services, Vanessa Joseph. Welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Okay, before we get to the legal ends of things, Tamara, let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about the history here. 50 years since the first boatload of Haitians arrived in South Florida. So give us a history lesson about the major event.
So, thanks for having us today. It's important. We're excited to be here to talk about the community. So, December 12, 1972 was the first boatload of that brought Haitian migrants to South Florida. And so, ever since then, the community has been leading a series of events to commemorate the anniversary. The anniversary really of these migrants that, like you mentioned, left Haiti in a situation of despair. And they arrived here, and we know that once they arrived here, over the last 50 years, they've created huge impact in the South Florida community.
So if you look at recent events, many may think not much has changed in 50 years. Haitians are still arriving here in South Florida and at the South Border. So what's the experience for Haitians who arrive here?
Yeah, the experience is difficult, like most migrants that come, right? And there's always the language barrier. There is understanding the culture, a very new culture. But I think, fortunately, South Florida, we have resources. We have lots of organizations that Vanessa and I work with that help these migrants when they come in to start their new life in the United States.
Okay, so Vanessa, let's get you in on the conversation. One thing that has changed is the president's new parole asylum seekers plan. So it requires, in part, proper application for asylum and sponsorship. So could this be a true pathway to citizenship, or is it too little too late?
So first, I think we have to distinguish between asylum and, of course, what this is, which is a humanitarian parole program, which is just an opportunity, right, to stay here in the United States with some kind of documentation. But it's not necessarily the application for asylum, which is essentially saying, I am afraid to return to my home country because I believe I'll be persecuted, or I have been persecuted and I cannot return, and please authorize me to stay. And at that point, you fill out an application, get an adjudication, maybe you'll see a judge, depending on how you entered the country. So this humanitarian program allows you to basically have a supporter here apply and say that you, as the beneficiary, they'll support you if you are able to come and stay here for 2 years on parole. I think for a lot of people, there is rejoicing in this opportunity, this new announcement that, look, we're providing a pathway for you to come here, but that won't be the pathway to citizenship. You know, that won't be the pathway to actual permanent residency. So is it too little too late? I'm not sure, but it is definitely too little for what we need in terms of comprehensive immigration reform. As it relates to the Haitian people, I think they absolutely deserve to have opportunities to make asylum claims, to be able to demonstrate that if they are afraid to return to their home country, they can have refuge here.
So who can be a sponsor?
So who can be a sponsor? Pretty much anybody who is here in the United States with status, all right? So you can't have a pending application for something and not have any actual status. You need to have maybe TPS, you could have parole, you can have U.S. citizenship, you can be a U.S. resident. And you have to be able to support that person. There is no obligation that it is only one supporter. You can have a group of people who are saying, look, we'll all come together to support this one beneficiary. As long as you're here in the United States and can afford to provide resources that this person may need while they're here, you can be a supporter. Of course, there's more to it, but
yeah. Well, I mean, that's
it's not law school.
Exactly. You got that right. So, Tamara, the Haitian people who now call the U.S. home, no matter how they got here, have been major contributors to the culture and the nation's bottom line. And this despite what many perceive as unfair treatment when it comes to immigration matters, namely in comparison to the way Cuban migrants are treated. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the series of events have led to an inflection point for their community. And what you're seeing now is the mobilization of Americans of Haitian descent. And the mobilization in order to make sure we have a voice, in order to make sure that we gain political power. And so we are creating initiatives such as the Haiti Diaspora Collaborative, ADC, where we have 12 Haitian-led organizations from the United States and from Haiti that are creating a national survey to understand the needs of our community and to understand and to gather data. And with that data, we will strain our community and we will use this data to gain political power. And what political power means is having a voice and influencing policies vis-a-vis Haiti and the United States.
And Vanessa, I kind of know this already, but for a lot of those people, I mean, it's a basic question. As an immigration attorney, break this down for us. Why is it that the policy to treat all migrants equally, no matter where they came from, exists? Because it doesn't. It's totally different for I guess, depending upon where you come from.
Yeah, depending on where you come from, and that's a question that we always get asked, right? What is the difference?
Yeah.
And I think the difference is often pretty clear. We don't have to mince words. We don't have to pretend that we don't see it. It's visible why there's disparate treatment between different groups of people. I think what is extremely important is that we continue to push for an immigration system that allows for the equal treatment or equitable treatment of people regardless of where they come from. People should absolutely all have the opportunity to seek shelter and security and safety for their families if they cannot remain at home. I mean, when you look at the conditions that people are fleeing, regardless of where they come from, I mean, who can argue that Haiti's not necessarily a war zone right now? Right? But when we look at other countries who also have, it may be a different context, right? But still, people are fleeing. They are afraid for their lives. Should they not too have the opportunity to seek refuge in our great country?
Hey, man, we're looking at some video right now. If unless you've been under a book lately, haven't seen what's going on in Haiti. I mean, this is just some of the video coming out of Haiti that we've seen for years now, not just months, but for years. And so, Tamara, 13 years ago, an earthquake devastated Haiti. 11 years later, another struck. So what can be done to build the infrastructure in Haiti?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think part of it is engaging the community, right? And to Vanessa's point, unless you're under a rock, you know what Haiti's been going through. It's always in the headlines. But I strongly believe in the progress that we've made also as a community. And I believe that the Americans in the United States of Haitian descent are at this point right now where we want to be a part of the conversation, where we influence what's happening in Haiti. So I can't go down there and build the infrastructure, but what I can do here is to work with my fellow Americans of Haitian descent to have that influence, to understand how we can help, and most importantly, to listen to what the people in Haiti are asking for, because I think that's a mistake we make often, where we're here, so we say we know what they need. We've got bridges here, we've got institutions here, so we know what they need. And I think that we need to listen to what they're saying, and then we here can work with them, work with the policymakers, the legislature, and the elected officials to bring change in Haiti. Okay,
so to both of you, there's been a presidential assassination. There's gang violence. We've heard of rapes. We've heard of everything that's happening there. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to come here, to risk your life to come to the U.S.?
I mean, would it be worth it to you if your family was in the same situation is the question we really have to ask ourselves. I can't make a determination for somebody else as to whether it was worth the cost. I can only say that if I was in that situation, here's what I would do. But I also think that we need to also see individuals who are arriving here as opportunities, right? These are opportunities to allow for an increased labor force, that we can help people ensure that they're providing for their families, that they're continuing to contribute to our communities in the ways that we know folks have been doing every time that they've come here. This is an opportunity for us to fill some of those vacancies that we see across not only Miami-Dade County, but across South Florida and throughout Florida. I think that this is an opportunity for us to really start to see the value that people possess instead of just looking at it as, well, they're all coming here, what are we supposed to do? I think we know what we are supposed to do. I think we know what we can do. And when we start to really meaningfully integrate people into our communities, we have much better and stronger communities. It's not by accident that when we were first arriving here 50 years ago, we had African Americans, the Jewish community, the Catholic community came together to support Haitians. Imagine how much great we can do when we just all come together to figure it out. And I think we can do that, and I think we should do that. And instead of seeing, oh my God, there's an influx of folks coming from different countries, what do? We help them.
Yeah, and I think nobody wants to make the treacherous path to come here, whether it's by boat or, across the borders. It's desperation, and like as Vanessa said, they don't come here just to sit here. They want to work. They want to support their families. They want to contribute to the community. And so I think that is something that folks need to understand too.
Thank you both for being here, Tamara, Vanessa. Thank you for your insight. There's so much more we can discuss, but of course we're running out of time. I appreciate you both.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Thank you.
You got it.